Many of you, as I, may have been wondering how in the world we, as a nation, are able to spend more money than we take in and do it year after year after year. How do we do that? And how do other countries do this year after year as well? Doesn't this system eventually lead to a collapse? I mean, if we as individuals were to spend thousands of dollars more than we make every year, wouldn't we eventually run out of money? Unfortunately, the current system of paper money, or what we call fiat currency, does not have to collapse. It can be prevented, or let's just say could have been prevented. However, it's really too late now because the prevailing belief of today's government, bureaucrats, and politicians and central bankers like Fed Chairman Bernanke and Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner think that debt-fueled economic expansion and low interest rates to fund the credit markets and thus the expansion are a good thing, whether or not there is real money to actually back up those debts. So, how did we get here in the first place, and how has it been able to continue? Ultimately, that is a pretty complex situation and takes some quite fancy financial wizardry to continue to fund the current system. But the basics start with artificially low interest rates, debt-fueled spending run amok, and end with paper money creation not just in the United States, but around the world like the world has never seen. Instead of letting the fiat money system just flush out the mountains of debt accumulated and naturally correct itself with a painful but necessary liquidations, politicians continue to borrow money and try and spend us out of debt. This liquidation, of course, should have happened years ago, but politicians that ultimately believe the state is better at fixing things and can somehow avoid an inevitable collapse just keep their feet firmly planted on the gas pedal of disaster. No politician wants to see or experience financial catastrophe during their tenure, so they keep kicking the can down the road with more government bailouts, making the eventual collapse even more devastating. Unfortunately, very few to no politicians are even willing to stand up and say, stop the debt-fueled spending. We have had enough already of government handouts, Social Security, Medicare, welfare checks, fraudulent military overcharging, food stamp queens, ridiculous research into cow flatulence and the like, mortgages for people who could never afford them in the first place, over-the-top benefits for congressmen, senators, and the president with his $184,000 per hour Air Force One, above-average salaries and benefits for public sector employees and their unions who demand ever more from us taxpayers, and on and on and on into financial oblivion. The looming catastrophe is approaching ever quicker, yet we keep creating and spending ginormous sums of money to stimulate the economy, burdening future generations, but the powers that be simply won't seriously look at the very things that have caused this mess in the first place. Lasting prosperity and long-term employment will never come from money manipulation and the printing of more paper currency. We just can't continue to spend money we've created out of thin air for programs we can't afford and expect something to change like magic one day. We will never be out of debt unless we take real steps to get out of debt, and debt-fueled spending is certainly not the answer. So, what does the average person do when facing this almost sure economic collapse? First, if you're in debt, take steps to get out of debt, thus releasing yourself from the control that banks and creditors have over you. Own your own home, own your automobiles, and no entity can legally take them from you. Plus, you then have cash to spend as you need without struggling. Own real assets such as gold coins, silver coins, real estate without debt, or other resources that people use on a regular basis. If you're going to invest in stocks, on things like paper, timber, oil and gas, metals, commodities, shipping stocks, and the like. Of course, you obviously need to talk with a professional financial advisor to find out what's right for you before you decide to do any investing. Don't take my word for it and strike out on your own. Please be sure you know what you're doing. So I've linked to this article here in the video description below that really describes that there is no way out of this situation. We can maybe lessen the effects of it, but you have to personally prepare because governments aren't going to prepare, and it seems like they're just making things worse and worse. So check out that article. I've linked to it in the video description below, and leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section below. I do look forward to hearing from you.